Do you walk into a room and have no idea why you're there? Or have something you need to do, like make dinner, but all the steps are making your head spin? And we're not talking Jamie Oliver level meals here, people. Or you struggle with time because you always have? If any of this sounds familiar, it's something happening in how your brain manages information and energy. Today, I'm going to walk you through a set of questions that help you see where your brain gets stuck and why this happens so often for autistic, ADHD, and AUDHD adults. Working memory. Do you walk into a room and forget why you're there? Do you lose your train of thought mid-sentence? Do you forget steps in a task unless you write them down or struggle to remember instructions? After interruptions, do you struggle to remember what you were doing? Do you start tasks like laundry or responding to messages and only remember them hours later? Your working memory is your brain's tracking system, its ongoing log. It's how we manage multiple steps, remember what we're doing, and why we stood up, and what we're even doing here. And it's how we keep information in our head long enough to use it. But for autistic and ADHD brains, we often struggle with this, especially when we're overwhelmed or stressed. We'll talk more about why later in this video. But if you're neurodivergent, this is really important to understand, especially if you're in or near burnout. Your working memory becomes muddled, so it looks like constant brain fog or forgetfulness. You might wonder if your memory is failing you. It's because you're stressed and overwhelmed. And if you're in burnout, there's a whole lot of other challenges happening in your body. We have a free mini course on burnout that we'll link below. But the point is, you will move slower, react slower, and forget more during periods of high stress or burnout. And working memory is one of those obvious spots for that. But having issues with that when you're not sleeping well or overwhelmed, it stresses your brain out even more. Attention regulation and focus control. Do you find it extremely hard to stay focused on boring or repetitive tasks? Do tiny sounds or movement hijack your attention instantly? Do you zone out in conversations and have to guess what you missed based on context? Do you space out for minutes at a time without noticing, or hyperfocus for hours? Do you struggle to return to a task after even a small distraction? Do you have trouble shifting attention between multiple tasks? Attention and focus control are the parts of executive function that keeps you focused on the right thing. Not everything, not nothing, just the right thing, which is a struggle for a lot of neurodivergent brains. If you're autistic, it often shows up when there's stress, sensory overload, or too much switching between tasks. And ADHD brains struggle a lot with this too. ADHD as an attention deficit doesn't mean there's a lack of attention. There's usually too much attention, everywhere, all at once. So if you've got both ADHD and autism, this can be really hard to manage and pretty darn overwhelming. Cognitive flexibility. When plans change suddenly, does your brain freeze or panic? Or does a routine change make a basic task feel like too much? Do you keep using the same strategy for a problem, even when it isn't working anymore? Does that include answering small talk in the exact same way every time? Asking for a friend? Does switching from one task to another feel jarring or irritating for your brain? Do you get stuck thinking about something long after you want to move on? When you get interrupted mid-task, do you struggle to switch to whatever someone is asking right now? Cognitive flexibility is your brain's ability to shift between tasks, adapt to change, and adjust to new information. Basically, it's your brain's ability to switch gears. This is a spot where autistic people struggle a lot. So task switching, handling sudden changes, and handling other switches like emotional or sensory changes, that's a lot for our brains to handle. And sometimes our brain just digs its heels in. Nope, not gonna do it this time, pal. It's probably also linked to why socializing is hard. All those unknown variables. We plan for how conversations will go, and the other person goes off script. Or another person decides to join. Being able to adapt to these situations requires cognitive flexibility. But remember that autism is partly defined by difficulties in social settings. That's what other people see. What they might not realize is all that our brains are juggling behind the scenes. And what you might not realize if you're neurodivergent is that some people can actually manage this without their nervous systems believing they're under attack. Cognitive flexibility also links to task switching, which we'll talk more about later in an upcoming video. But when you get stuck mentally, it could just be that your executive function is lagging behind. Inhibition and impulse regulation. When a thought pops into your head, is it hard to stop yourself from saying it immediately? Or do you not say it, but mentally zone out with the effort? Do you find it hard to stop doing something once you've started, including scrolling, researching specific tasks, or gaming? When emotions build quickly, do you go from "I'm fine" to "this is too much" without a lot of warning? Do you experience overwhelm that feels instant? Do you struggle not to act on impulses when you're bored, anxious, or understimulated? Do you sometimes react too quickly before fully thinking it through, like with buying things, sending messages, or saying yes? After holding things together all day, do small things trigger big reactions, like snapping, shutting down, or crying? You might have noticed these tie into attention and focus, but inhibition and impulse regulation are more than that. This is all under the self-control or self-regulation umbrella. And it's really hard for autistic and ADHD people. We'll talk more about why later, but it's your brain system that's supposed to help you pause before acting. That buffer time, or that part of your brain that's supposed to say, "Hey buddy, aren't we supposed to be leaving to go somewhere now? But I'm almost done with this." Don't say I didn't warn you. So we often struggle here. Understanding our own emotions can be challenging enough on good days, but regulating those emotions, pausing before reacting, that's part of our executive functioning too. Huge struggle for me personally, especially when overwhelmed, not sleeping well, or dysregulated. Add into the mix the intense sensory experience for many neurodivergent people, and you can see why overload hits fast sometimes. We don't notice those subtle signals building as often. And then years of masking the discomfort or being told you are being difficult, hear it enough, and you stop noticing those signs or ignore them. But those signals keep building in the background. So when it seems like we snap over something small, we were usually having a hard time regulating our emotions in our bodies, but we're hiding it. But the good news is we can improve this. By understanding ourselves better, seeing the signs earlier, and practicing, and being patient with ourselves. Also helps if the people around us start to understand. So share this with someone you think could learn from this too. Planning, prioritizing, and organization. Do tasks sit on your to-do list for weeks because starting feels impossible? Do you feel stuck because you don't know where to begin? Do you constantly underestimate how long tasks will take? Do you struggle to finish things or break bigger tasks into smaller steps without feeling overwhelmed? Do you struggle to decide which task is most important when you have several that all seem important? After finishing one task, do you need a lot of time before you can start the next one? Does your brain freeze when tasks or steps are vague or unclear? This is where executive function really shows up constantly. It can be crippling in daily life. It leads to feelings of shame when you can't just do those little things. Or you do things, but they aren't the important ones. But starting things, sequencing tasks, and deciding what matters and where to focus your very limited energy and attention, that's an executive function challenge for many autistic and ADHD individuals. And doing it consistently without burning yourself out or ending up in shutdown burrito mode, even harder. But there's a reason for that. Why these are challenging for autism and ADHD. What's starting to become more and more evident? These executive function challenges are linked to your brain structures if you're autistic or have ADHD. And if you have both, even spicier. Now, I'm not going to get super technical, but research is starting to show links to our brain chemistry and challenges with executive function. Our brains tend to overload certain areas and basically neglect others. Thanks a lot, brain.
Plenty more where that came from.
So when it feels like our brain isn't working right, yep, that's actually what's happening in our brains. We have too much happening in our brains, and it's pretty constant, especially when we're overwhelmed and dysregulated. Our brains are like, activate the nervous system, prepare for battle. And actually, it was just needing to decide what to eat for dinner. But we can improve this by understanding our brains. That means getting to know our triggers, building in support or making adjustments, and reminding ourselves that our brains aren't wrong. They're different. And that means they need us to try things in our own ways to find what works. We'll have a lot more on this coming soon. But first, check out that free quiz. Links in the description. You'll get to answer at your own pace and get some real insight into your own brain. So which parts of this hit most for you? Where are your biggest struggles, and what have you found that helps? We've got a lot more on this topic, so hit the subscribe button to keep learning about your unique brain right here. This is me faking it. Am I making it? Not really. Not really. Not doing great here. Okay, gonna stop faking it. Getting tired. Slowing down.